both locally and internationally. Yesterday, in the world of football, we saw lots of shocks, and later on in the show, of course, I'll be joined by Salim Waziri and Joe Saina, and we'll be taking a look at the results from Europe's top 5 leagues. And remember, the Springboks won the Rugby World Cup. We'll be highlighting that later on. But in this part of the show, I want us to get into the discussion of the day, and we are talking about Green Sport Africa and developing football in the country. In studio, of course, I have officials from Green Sport Africa. That is Kasim Ismaili and George Ouma. Of course, we want to first run through the 6 years that you guys have been in operation, and how it has been. George.
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, Rob, I think when we started Green Sports, it was just a dream. We were in high school together, in the same high school. And what happened at the time is, if you look at the genesis, we started playing football together when we were about 10. About 10. And as we grew, we were both in the football team. Interchangeably, we were captain and vice captain of the team. And of course, there was a lot of passion in the game. So what that meant is that, of course, first of all, we were, I believe, one of the best teams in our time. But because of that passion, what happened in the end is, you know, as we got to our tail end of high school, we asked ourselves, okay, what next? We wanted to be professional footballers, and that was a dream then. But what we realized is that it was difficult. It was extremely difficult for us to pursue that particular dream because of the structures that were not there at the time. So that's how we sort of started Green Sports.
Kasim, of course, as George had said, that this is, something that you thought of when you were playing together in a high school.
Yes.
But how easy has it been for you, to bring this brainchild of yours into, fruition?
Well, it's not been easy at all. I think it's been very difficult, and that would still be an understatement. So in 2012, we actually tried our first tournament because that's the only thing that we thought we might be able to do.
Yes.
We got 6 teams in that particular tournament, and we just kept going, learning, failing, making mistakes, learning from them again, keeping on adding value, looking for more opportunities for the boys. Eventually the tournaments grew to about 150 to 200 teams per event, which is great because that then attracted international attention as far as the players are concerned. And now we're able to give these players international opportunities, which as George said, was the dream when we actually started.
6 teams in the first tournament, and right now you're attracting more than 150, 200 teams. Did it occur to you, like, when you had the first tournament, 6 teams turned out, did it occur to you, like, man, we can't just do this? Let's just brush it aside. We do something else. Did it occur to you that way?
No, I mean, from the start, the goal was, let's do a tournament.
Yes.
Let's do a tournament. If we have 4 teams that show up, we'll pull them, they play semi-finals and final. I mean, that was the goal, because for us, we were looking at the long term. And that was, can we get our name out there? Can we tell people that this is an alternative to sport, and particularly football? So, once we did that, for us, that was a success. Also, at the same time, there was the internet age, which really helped. So for us, actually, truth be told, we just decided, we're going to take pictures from this event and publicize that. Thereafter, we just build and we look at what can we make better, what can we improve. And, we did that consistently over a long period of time. I mean, shout out to our parents who were really supportive at the time, because a lot of people just thought we were crazy, to be honest. A lot of people told us, you know what, this football thing, iko na wenyewe, it's for hooligans. We got all sorts of, bashing, to be very honest. But for us, I mean, the dream was still alive, and the fact that we did that was a huge milestone for us in terms of setting precedents for what was to come after.
Kasim, from the first tournament, right now you have Keto Cup, you have Gold Cup, you have Platinum.
Yes.
I mean, why did you just come up with, these sort of tournaments that you have to name one: Gold, Platinum, Keto?
I'm not very sure about that particular thing. I think it just sounded right. It sounded right. Yeah, Gold Cup, Platinum Cup because I mean these are rare minerals. So the talent that is here in Africa, we consider it to be similar in that it's very precious. It needs to be taken care of, and it's gold. It is platinum as well. Yeah,
and keto, which is gemstone.
exactly, exactly.
George, you've got into a point where you host these tournaments.
Yeah.
Almost 4 of them.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
How difficult is it for you guys to organize such tournaments?
I think that's a good question. I think you have to understand the spectrum. For green sports, we sort of divide it into 3 things. So there's talent ID, so the tournaments cover that, and then you have trials after that. There's a development part, and then there's opportunities part. So when we were thinking about 3 tournaments, really it was because we realized that, number one, there's such an abundance of talent in not just Kenya, but the entire continent. Number 2, because of you have different situations. So for example, the Rwandese education system might not, so the holidays are clashing. So for example, when these guys are in school, so for example, when we have Keto Cup, they're still in school, as well as Ugandans.
Yes.
So they may not necessarily be able to participate in that tournament. However, in Gold Cup, they're all on holiday. Some of them are, some of them aren't. And then in December as well. So the reason behind 3 tournaments is just to ensure that we capture as many people as we can, so we don't leave out anyone. Because we believe that anybody who's talented, anybody who can kick a football, has an interest in the game, should be able to get different opportunities, and that's why we do that. Yeah.
You've got into a point where you've partnered with, scouts from outside the country, and they are willing to come and take a look at what is happening, and get to pick or select players that they feel that can do well in other leagues in the world. How did you get there?
Okay.
Yes.
So like I said, when the tournaments grew, we just started getting queries. What's this about, and what exactly is going on? So in 2017, a scout actually from Germany, from Frankfurt, contacted us, and he said he wants to come and see what exactly is going on.
Yes.
So he did that, and we did our first trials in May 2017. It was successful in that he saw a lot of talent, but we were not successful in that. As far as European standards are concerned,
yes.
His feedback was, you guys need to work on the finer details of the game. The tactical awareness, the technique, the fitness, the mental conditioning that's required at the top level. So I would actually like to introduce you to the other parts of green sports, which is number 1, the academy,
yes.
Which then fills in those gaps. It complements whatever people are doing in their schools. So just to give them that elite level training, which was a problem here in Kenya. So they go through the academy, and then at the end of their education, they then access those opportunities. Yeah.
How did it make you feel when you got that query from a scout in Germany for Frankfurt saying that hey, I want to come and check out what you guys are doing in Kenya? How did it feel? I
think it felt good, but at the same time expected. I mean, without sounding like we were expecting big things from the very get-go. But the reason why I'm saying that is because of habit. When you do something over and over and over again, success is guaranteed. So we had been doing it. We had been working hard. We had been solidifying the system. So it was just a matter of time, really.
It was
yeah, exactly.
George, last year, when we were just checking out the footage when you had the tournament at Kikuyu, at Gikambura,
the trials, yes.
The trials you had.
Yeah.
I mean, did you envisage, that you will get to this point, that people will turn out in numbers just to come for trials?
Well, for me, I think I was just sharing this with Kasim the other day and the rest of the team that, in a sense, I feel like I wish we had these opportunities in our playing days. But, you quickly remind yourself that for us now, we live vicariously through these people who get these opportunities. So, yes, again, just on what Kasim said, I think it was a bit expected because, we really thought about the whole thing, the whole ecosystem. How do you move from a point of identification to development and to opportunities? And for the whole spectrum to make sense and to sort of professionalize the industry, which is football. So, once that happened and we got the feedback, and then more scouts came to the country for tournaments, for trials. That particular one you're talking about, we had Chris Cousins, who came from England, and what he did is that he, together with our scouting network, we were able to then provide an alternative, which is giving our players scholarships, sports-specific scholarships in America. And I mean, from there, again, it's just the snowballing effect. So there's different opportunities that have arisen because of that. And to be honest, it was expected. I mean, of course, we're happy, very happy, but it's been a great, it's been great to live this, to live this dream.
You've spoken about, giving scholarships, sports-related scholarships, and somebody watching right now, would want to know how has it worked for you guys so far, and can you see the effect that it has on probably the players that have been through the system?
That's a good question. So, as George said, from the trials, if you're good enough, you are scouted to then get some of these scholarships that you're asking about. So there's a process. We make for you the videos. Also, your grades definitely have a bearing on what kind of scholarship you get. But for some of the players who've then started playing in the United States in the NCAA and NAIA leagues, they're doing extremely well, actually. One of them is called Carl Gatiramu, who was voted in the All-Star Under-23 team in the entire country, meaning he's one of the best 11 players in, out of, tens of thousands who are actually playing. So it's been great for them. Yeah.
And George, there is this notion that we have right now. When you take a look at the Kenya Premier League, teams are suffering, and somebody will want to know. There is the question that why would I want somebody to get into football, and at the end of the day, you will suffer.
Yeah.
Because of the tag that we have, that our league is not, is not up to what you expect, the top tier league to be.
Interesting question. I think it's one of the challenges that we faced, definitely. The notions and the perceptions of the industry. I think, however, what the approach that Green Sports has used is let's make sure we have success stories. Let's make sure that we have people who've been there, gone through the system, and now have made it in different circles and different opportunities. So, however, what I think is that it's not one person or one institution or one organization can do it. It has to be a concerted effort because, for example, government should be able to provide the facilities or at least improve them because that in its sense will, for example, change the perception a bit. If then the people in the industry, the Green Sports and whoever else can then do their part. So it needs to be a concerted effort between a group of, everybody involved in the industry to make sure that those notions are changed. But what I can say with absolute confidence is that, the future is bright. And the future is not just the future, it's now. Because you have different opportunities. These things are all accessible. You just have to go through the channels, work hard, and you'll get them. So, yeah.
And somebody would want to know, how different is Green Sport Africa from other sports academies? Yes.
That's a good question. To answer that, you cannot name any other grassroots sporting organization in the entire region that has the identification, the development, and the opportunities. So that is the entire pipeline. So you have some people who train these athletes, but a lot of these athletes, like ourselves when we were a bit younger, then get to the age of 18 and ask themselves, what next? Where do I go from here? Too old for the senior team, so what next? So that's what makes us very different. We do the identification, we do the development, and after you've developed, we also get you the opportunity. So the full spectrum is covered.
The full spectrum is covered. Yes. George, we are talking about more than, getting to more than 150, 200 teams getting to compete in this tournament. And, you've gone to an extent of having teams from the East African region wanting to take part in it. How challenging has that been for you to handle such teams?
It's been a challenge because with growth is expensive, I must say, because reaching out to these different countries includes multiple federations. It includes language barriers. It includes getting the right kind of people on the ground and the different places, to make sure that it's all coordinated and for them to understand exactly what we're trying to do. Because by and large, the problems are not just here, as I said. The problems are for most of the African region. So that's been a challenge. However, what we've done is we have such a robust and tested system that is very easy for us to plug and play anywhere. And because of that, and because we all speak one language, which is football. Football is football. It doesn't matter where it is, whether it's in Korogocho, whether it's in Westlands, whether it's in Yaoundé or Soweto in South Africa. It's the same game. And in Africa, we have a very youthful, passionate population where this sport is also used to tackle some of the social needs. So it's really big, and for us we then build on top of that and make sure that we do these things. However, one thing I could say for us is over the years, one of the problems that I can say, or challenges or problems that we faced is sponsorship. What you see in sport is there's a lot of sponsorship in the game, yes, but some of the sponsorship then goes to maybe the status quo. So then it becomes a bit of a challenge to or rather to convince these sponsors that we are different, we're alternative. Yes, we're young, but we have the vigor. So yeah, so I mean, and we've got people like that. For example, Paradise Lost. That's an organization that has taken full on the sponsorship of our African Warriors Football Club. So from the academy, what happens is that you graduate into our football club, which we started last year. It's called African Warriors. And what happens then is that you continue your development at an elite level where you're playing league football as you wait for these different opportunities that then you get. So it's yeah. So I think that's it.
Of course, somebody would want to know. You've spoken about sponsorships, and as Green Sport and being in an industry where people are adamant of pumping in finances to some of these institutions, sporting institutions that we have. How have you managed to handle that challenge?
The answer is self-sustainability. Because we know that sometimes sponsorship is there, sometimes it's not there, sometimes that corporate backing is there, but as we've seen with some of the major players in the KPL, for example, pulling out, if you rely too much on that, it can cripple you. So for us, we created a model of self-sustainability, a solid business model, so that we don't have to rely on that. Yes.
New tournament coming up in December. George, want to talk about it?
Yeah, so interesting. I mean, this is usually a very exciting time for us, December. Platinum Cup, it's the 7th edition of the tournament, and this is it's the end of the year, so the different people who haven't been able to sort of been identified or for the trials then get geared up to participate for that. So on the 6th and 7th of December we'll be having Platinum Cup at St. Mary's School, and I mean it's free for anybody, so it's in terms of registration we don't segregate, and for both girls and boys, for all walks of life. You don't necessarily have to be in an organized setting for you to participate, because we believe that because of circumstance, sometimes the opportunities are...
Yes, a friend of mine called Salim Waziri would want to know, the age limit that you guys have for the teams that participate in that. And to get into the academy, do you have some age limit, and how you've graded them in the academy?
So for the academy, we start from under 4. Reason being, you have to teach people this game as they start to walk. Just after they start to walk, they have to start learning the game.
Yes.
So that's for the academy. As far as the tournament is concerned, we start from under 10, because at that age is when you should start developing the ability to compete with others, even if it's at a friendly level at that early stage. Yeah.
When you're talking about the tournament that is coming up, George, that is Platinum Cup in December, does it mean that, you know, from a certain age, probably 25, 30, you cannot take part in this?
Good question. So yeah, the ceiling for us is under 22.
Under 22.
Yeah, so under 22 going down, simply because we believe that it's extremely difficult to get opportunities post that. By the time you're 22, 23, if you haven't got an opportunity, because football is a short career, and sports, many sports anyway, because it's very physical and the demands for the game is a lot. The other thing you have to appreciate is coming from this side, which is Africa, already you're disadvantaged in so many ways. So again, you're also dealing with stereotypes of the best opportunities in the world, because you have to understand, if Arsenal is looking for you, they're going to look for where they believe is the best they can possibly get. And unfortunately, at this time, Africa in general, and let's talk about this side of Africa especially, sub-Saharan going down, it's not necessarily the case. So you have to start young. You have to start 4, 5, 6, so that by the time you're 18, 19, 20 there, then you can get the best opportunities available.
Kasim, ladies football, you know, how are you embracing that?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that would fall under some of the challenges that we faced. Ladies football in the country, I think, has been difficult. And I think that is the addition that, you know, the stereotypes as far as the things that African women should and shouldn't do. You know, it just adds on to the challenge. But we do have ladies football. We do train ladies. We do have the same opportunities for ladies. We do have ladies again at our tournaments. So we're doing the best that we can. We do encourage more ladies to play the game. There is opportunity, especially in the United States, because it's now a bit different for the ladies. So for men, when it comes to Africans, we're down there as far as priority is concerned. But for the ladies, they're up there. So the more ladies that can play, for us, the better.
For you, the better.
Yes.
I mean, when you have such tournaments, you know, what can you say about the teams that you know, register to participate in the ladies categories that you have?
What can we say about them?
Yes.
In terms of,
you know, the participation is, you know, the number of teams that you know, register, is it, you know, equal to the number of the men's teams that you have, or it's a bit?
So I mean, it's not the same. So we basically deal with maybe 20 to 25 ladies teams, and they usually range from 18 all the way to 23. Yeah, so they're definitely a bit less.
Definitely a bit less. As we wind up, George, what should we expect in the years to come?
Wow.
From Green Sport?
I think a lot. For us, the more people we reach, the better. You know, so you know, you can expect a lot of growth. You know, for us, East Africa, yes, it's in the bag, but we're looking at the whole continent because, I mean, as I said, opportunities are available for everyone.
Yes.
I mean, other than that, more partnerships, more opportunities. You can expect that next time you call us back here, I can tell you, we'll be talking about new opportunities as well. Yeah, so, and just growth of the whole industry as a whole.
As we wind up, Kasim?
Expect more good Kenyan players playing in the top leagues in Europe via Green Sports Africa. Yes.
Well, thanks a lot, gentlemen. Kasim Ismaili and George Ouma from Green Sport Africa telling us what you should expect from them. Remember, they've been in operation for 6 years and they're saying the growth has been mammoth.